Hello, Cousin Johnny here. I'd like to shout out to the sponsors of the Buzzin' with Cousin show. Max Fit Meals, 520 Fremont Street, Monterey. Grab and go healthy meals. They're delish. I Heart You Candles and Gifts, 329 Lighthouse in Monterey. Also Tuesday night at Farmers Market, Monterey. That garlic stuff, if you like garlic, you're going to love that garlic stuff. Tuesday at Monterey Farmers Market. And go to thatgarlicstuff.com for more information and more locations. Destination 831, live streaming. Promote yourself, promote your business. Destination 831. Go to Facebook, and Kevin Armstead will take care of you. The Sweet Spot on 9 Delfino Place, Carmel Valley, California. Beautiful spot. Sit out there in the sun. You got olive oil. You've got wine tasting. You got sandwiches, baked goods. The Sweet Spot, 9 Delfino Place, Carmel Valley. Thank you, the sponsors, for helping out. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Hello, welcome to Buzzin' with Cousin. How's everybody doing out there? Everybody having a great day? Looks like this rain slowed down, but we got a great show here, and I can't wait to bring this to you. So I'd like to have a special guest. He's an author. He's a storyteller. He's a good friend of mine. And also I've had the honor of working with him. And let me tell you, this is one of the best front maitre d' host people you're ever going to run into. This guy makes you feel welcome when you come into the restaurant. Okay, so here we go. Please let me introduce Tony Albano. Tony, welcome to the show.
Great to see you, Cousin Johnny.
It's really great to have you, and I was excited to have you on. I know you were on about a year ago, and a lot of people said, when are you going to bring that guy back on? He's very entertaining, so here you are.
Well,
so Tony, for people that don't know you and didn't see the last show, whatever, you're from New York. How did you end up in Monterey?
Well, Pat and I, my wife, owned a deli in New York, and a man came in and said he liked to buy the deli, and I said, we're very happy. And Pat asked, who was that man? And I said, he wants to buy the deli. And she said, well, how much does he want to give you? And I told her, she goes, we're not that happy.
Yeah.
I go, we're not? She goes, we've never been that happy. And she goes, all you do is talk, and all I do is cook. And I said, Pat, I didn't know we weren't happy. So she said, please, let's go live by my sister on the Monterey Peninsula. And I was so in love, I took a leap of faith, and here I am. And I met you, my first job, when I came here. So we had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. And how long?
We were young.
How long has that been, Tony? How many years?
I believe I met you in the late 80s when I just moved here.
Okay, great. And we've been friends ever since.
Ever since.
I love it. And who's your friend there, Tony?
Well, this is my little three-legged companion. Some people know that I'm missing a leg. And this is Bree over here.
Bree.
And she changed and saved my life. And she's a darling little girl. And she's missing a leg. I'm missing a leg. So I guess we're a match made in heaven.
Bree, welcome to the show. So, Tony, have you, you've written some books, 3 books?
Yes, but I still consider myself a storyteller. All the stories are true, so I don't really feel like an author, but if they want to call me an author, I'll take it.
Okay, great. Now, you've always through your life, you've always been a storyteller, and
I've been entertaining all my life, Johnny.
that's really great. So, when did you start? When did you write your first book?
Well, the first book, the little dog that I have here, Brie, her owner he liked my story so much, he wanted to put him in a book. And that was about 7 years ago. And I had no idea I would ever have a book, but Bree's father took care of everything. And then the second book came out, A Leg to Stand On, because I was having difficulty with my leg.
Yeah.
And I knew in the back of my mind there was a story that I would love to tell. It is not like the first two books. This is a secret I've held in for 50 years, about when I was 14 in 1969, and a relationship I had, but I did not want to hurt the main character. So I held it in for 50 years. And now I came out with the book, but then COVID came and I really couldn't promote it. My shows got canceled, and you are giving me the opportunity to get it rolling again.
Well, thank you, Tony. And let me tell everybody, I have a copy of this special book.
That's it, Johnny.
And it's signed by Tony Albano. It's called Cherish.
Can I tell you an interesting thing, Johnny?
Go ahead.
You see the cover of that book?
Yes.
A lady read my book, very nice young lady, and she went out and bought me the same jacket. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Well, she bought me that jacket. She said, I was so touched by your book, I thought you would want to have it. And now I got that jacket back. And 2 weeks ago, I went out with this gentleman, and he read my book. And at the end of the book, I talk about Woodstock. And he reached into his pockets and said, I've been saving these for 54 years to give them to the right person. I think you should have them. And they were 3 Woodstock tickets, unblemished, mint condition, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday shows. And he gave them to me in a baggie, untouched. And he said, I was so moved by your book, I want you to have them. So now I'm getting my hair back. I got my jacket. I got my tickets. I'm ready to roll, Johnny.
You're ready to rock and roll, Tony.
I am.
Great. So can you, without, giving the whole plot and everything away, can you tell us a little bit of just bits and pieces of Cherish?
Well, if you read the beginning of Cherish, my early days were sometimes wonderful, but a lot of times difficult. But I got through them because I had a grandfather that loved me so much, and he was missing a leg. It's unbelievable. My grandfather, me, and Bree are missing a leg. But during my darkest hour, I had a teacher who walked into my life, and she was concerned enough, and she asked me why I was always so sad and why I don't play with the other kids. And she says, what's that on your shoulder? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, it looks like you carry the world on your shoulders. And I said, I do. And she said, what brings you enjoyment? And I said, my New York Mets. And then she said, and she was a nun, and said, well, would you like to go to baseball games when the season rolls around again? And I said, I would love to. And we started going to baseball games. And I must explain that it was the first year nuns didn't wear habits. So she was in civilian clothing, and there started a relationship, unique, but we had one. I was 14. I have just learned she was 30. I never really knew her age.
Yeah.
And anyway, she saved my life, and she said I changed her life because after me, I guess it's because of me, she left being a nun, and I attended her wedding, and we remained friends for 50 years.
Man, what a beautiful story. Now, when I read the book, I really enjoyed it. I really liked, because, being in the Sicilian background was...
Oh, what a family.
Yeah, I had, the relationship with the grandfather.
Yes,
so that
very important.
That touched me. And then also, when I was in the book, when you met the nun, the teacher, you were intimidated by her a little bit, right?
I was afraid of her. You're right. I was frightened of her. But then I realized what a warm, great person was under that facade.
Wow, that's really great. Now, Tony, and you said now you keep contact with this person, or
Well, interestingly enough, I promised her I wouldn't tell the story for 50 years. And the minute the book came out, she passed away. So
oh,
so maybe God wanted it that way.
yeah,
She was afraid it would hurt her reputation. And, she was so young, I'm sure that would have ruined her career. So that's why I kept quiet.
a 50-year secret.
Yes.
That's great. That I love it. So, Tony, can you tell us a couple of stories?
Oh, I can. I can. My father had 10 brothers. And my grandfather's dream was to have a baseball team. So he had 10 sons and they had a baseball team. But I must admit, my father was the black sheep of the family because he wasn't so involved with the mafia like the other brothers were. And the other brothers were always in trouble with the law. And when I was a kid, now you got to imagine, 10 brothers have spouses and they all have children. They told me I had to go visit Uncle Sal in the hospital. So we all got in our cars and we taken this ride. And when we started the ride, we were in New York City. But this ride was going on and on and on. About 2 hours later, I said, where is this hospital? When are we going to see Uncle Sal? And they go, we're getting close, because now we were in the country. I never seen mountains and streams in my life. And then all these cars drove in like a motorcade, and there was a big brick oval wall, and we drove in, and there was picnic benches and everything. And I was the oldest grandchild, so I must have been about 10. And finally, my father said, we're here. We're going to see Uncle Sal, but children cannot go up in the room. And I'm looking up, and Uncle Sal is waving to us from the window, and I'm waving, and they're waving. And I notice I'm waving to my Uncle Sal, but all the men have the same uniforms on. And then I realized there's bars on the window. So I said to my father, this looks like jail, not like a hospital. And my father picked me up like a feather and said, Anthony, please, please do not mention we're at a prison. The kids think we're on a family reunion to visit Uncle Sal. And I didn't say a word, of course, but that was the first Albano reunion.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. Let me show the listeners a photo of you and your best friend right here.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
That's a beautiful photo of Tony Albano and his best friend, Bree. Beautiful photo of both of them.
I believe that says it all right there.
That says it all, yeah. So, Tony, you're having an event coming up. Can you explain that and what's happening?
Johnny, I was going to kick off my starting to promote the book Cherish last month, and I would have been at River House Books, but the power outages canceled everything. First COVID, then the lights went out. Wherever I go, they cancel things.
Right.
So the manager at El Fanayo, where I work, he said, why don't you just move the event to our back room, the Ocean Avenue room, and have it here. So now we're set for April Sunday, the 16th at 1 o'clock. We'll have appetizers complimentary for 1 to 1:30, and then the show will begin because parking is very difficult. I want to give people time. I heard the last time I did an event, some of my friends left. They could not find parking, and they didn't want to interrupt the show. So I'm going to give them time.
Okay, so that's from 1 to 1:30. You're going to have
then the show begins.
And I got a little flyer on that. Let me show that right now. There it is.
Wow. You're amazing.
So you've got Tony at what? What are you there, 15 years old, Tony?
Johnny, I was 18 or 19, but I look like I'm 12.
Okay, I got it. There's
Yes,
that,
and
there's that
I
famous
must admit,
jacket.
there's that jacket, the famous jacket, and right there, that picture. I know if you don't live in New York, you may not know this, but that's on a famous street in Greenwich Village. It's called Bleecker Street, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
outside of a very famous nightclub called The Bitter End. And at that time, I was writing songs and performing in Greenwich Village. But I look like I'm 12, but I'm not.
Okay, good. And that's going to be from 1 to 1:30 at Il Fornaio over there on Ocean Avenue. And
Yes, Johnny.
you've got a gentleman with you playing guitar, right?
I met a gentleman named Peter, and we became friends very quickly because we loved the same music. And he plays the guitar just like I used to, and we just clicked from the beginning. And he told me, "Tell me about the songs you used to write." And I said, "Peter, I was a teenager when I wrote those songs.
Yeah.
I was probably so immature. The songs couldn't possibly be good." Well, I taught him at least 4 of them, and he thought they were great. So now Peter plays the guitar, and I sing songs I wrote when I was a young man. And we've added a new song to the set called "I Hear You're Married Now." I wrote that when I was 19, when I was in England, and the audience seems to love it. They sing the whole chorus for me.
Oh man, I can't wait. It's gonna be. Let me
It's
tell
all because of Peter.
all the listeners out there, this is going to be a really fun event, and Tony, just your presence is a happy. You make people happy, and you make people laugh, and you make people get together. So thank you for that, Tony.
Thank you, Johnny.
And so, Tony, I know you want to get going here, but do you have anything else you want to add to?
I think maybe I should tell you a little story about Cherish.
Okay, yeah.
We lived in the projects in Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
they were brand new, and we were the first tenants there. And it was like the UN building. Everyone got along so wonderfully, people from all walks of life and nationalities. But the lady above us on the next floor, I called her Aunt Betty. And my little job was to walk her up to her apartment as a kid and brush her hair. And she would fall asleep so quickly, I'd go down and tell my mother and father Aunt Betty fell asleep. And they go, "You didn't accept money from her, did you?" I go, "Well, she gave me a quarter." They go, "You didn't even stay with her." I go, "I can't help it if she fell asleep." Well, when we got our first home, we were packing to move, and I really was going to miss Aunt Betty terribly. And we were wrapping little dishes and everything. And my mother and Aunt Betty were reminiscing about our days in the projects. And I dropped a little dish, and I started crying uncontrollably. And they go, "What's the matter?" And I just started crying and crying. And they go, "Anthony, what's going on?" And I just blurted out, "When we move, who will brush Aunt Betty's hair?" And they loved that little tidbit. That's what I was holding in.
Wow.
I was going to miss Aunt Betty.
Aunt Betty, yeah, okay. That's really great, Tony. Okay, Tony, that sounds really great, and we're looking forward to going to the event and watching you perform. And so happy that you were able to come on the show and buzz with Cousin here. So, Anthony,
Yes.
thank you so much, and we will see you at the event one more time on the 16th of
17th.
17th.
16th. I got the date wrong. Sunday the 16th.
Sunday the 16th, Il Fornaio Restaurant.
1 o'clock.
Good food on Ocean Avenue at 1 o'clock. There's going to be some hors d'oeuvres. So come on down, and we'll see you there. Tony, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you at the event.
John, thank you so much, Cousin Johnny, for this opportunity. And I want to thank Sharon, who helps me do so many things in my life. And we'll see you.
Yes. Sharon Flanagan, thank
Yes.
you. I think you're there. Thank you
Yes.
for what you do, helping Tony out, and we're looking forward to seeing you there at the event. Also,
John, can I say one more thing?
go ahead. You say.
I can't believe I slipped, so I better say one more time. April 16th on a Sunday at 1:00.
Okay, and wait a minute before I let him go. We're going to do one more thing. There it is.
Thank you, Johnny.
16th. Where Tony's going to tell some stories. We're going to talk about a couple of his books. He's going to play some songs with Peter. And the main thing is we're going to talk about Cherish, a great book. Okay, Tony, we will see you soon. Thank you so much. We're out.
The pleasure is mine, Johnny. Thank you for everything.
Bye. Tony Albano, storyteller, author, all around good guy. I appreciate him for coming on. And don't forget, one more time, we're going to say it, April 16th at 1:00 at El Fornillo. Join us for a couple hours of storytelling and talking about his new book, Cherish, where a New York teenager and a nun find out about love. Okay, thank you, everybody, and we will see you. We will see you down the road. Stay dry. Bye.